Hey guys, Chris Fayte coming right back at you. I know it's been a while. I apologize about that. 2017 just hasn't been very friendly to me, and had a lot of things to take care of and going on. But we're going to try to get back into the swing of things, so I'm going to do my very best to make it up to you. And I thought, well, I've been getting a lot of questions in regards to health and just you name it. I mean, I just get bombarded with questions, and a lot of times I just show you how to do one specific thing or a couple of specific things, and then it just leads to a lot more questions. So I thought maybe this time around I might just make maybe a 2 or 3, maybe even a 4-part series. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes and what kind of time we're looking at. But maybe a 3-part series where I just start at the very beginning of a game and show you how I get my cheats, and we'll go all the way through of getting the cheats of everything we want, and then at the very end we'll make a standalone trainer for it. And we're going to be doing this with Dishonored too. It's been out for a little while. I've just recently got it, and I would like to go ahead and do that. And we're just going to start at the very beginning on how I come about getting these cheats, and then making a trainer and getting it out to you guys. So stick around. Let me go ahead and save what I got so far, make sure I got everything attached, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, now we've got the cheat engine attached to it, and the new 6.7 is out currently as we start this vid. And so I'm going to be using that, and we're going to go ahead and start into this. Now normally I don't recommend finding your cheats in tutorial modes. You do have lots of games that separate their tutorial modes from their main game, in which that means that a lot of the values that are calculated in tutorial are not calculated in those areas in the main game. Sometimes they allow you to have infinite arrows or give you a break on your health when you're training, fighting, and things like that. That's why I recommend do not get these values in tutorial. However, I do know for a fact in this particular game that the tutorial version, that we can go ahead and get our infinite breath, we can get our infinite arrows, and then we can go on into the main game and start concentrating on health. And we're going to stop there today, and we're going to pick up in the next lesson next week and continue on, see if we can maybe get stealth and more hard to find values. We're going to get a little more advanced as we go. So we're going to start off easy and get more advanced as we go. So let's go ahead and get started. I've already got it attached, so let's go ahead and hit campaign, and I'm going to click new game down here. I'm just going to save it in my slot 1, and we're just going to put it in. Normally I'd recommend putting it on easy when you're trying to get your hacks, because you get a lot more breaks, get more arrows, or maybe stealth is easier to find. But I'm just going to do it on medium right now. But I try to stay off hard because it's a lot harder to find values, because you know stats go quicker, health bars go down quicker, and things like that. So you want them to go as slow as possible if you can help it. So hacking the game on easium or medium is, I would totally recommend that. Then you can go back and play it in whatever mode you want to. But remember, right now we're hacking the game, we're not playing the game. Okay, playing the game comes later. So yeah, we want to go ahead and start the tutorial, because we're going to find our breath and we're going to find our arrows in it. So, and I'm probably not going to show the the beginning of the tutorial. It's just me running and ducking under things and crap like that. I'm just going to get to where we need to be so we can start hacking it. Okay, so now we're at our first location to where we can start hunting for a value, and we're going to be going underwater, and we're going to be trying to find infinite breath. So what I would like to do is see if we can find where our breath bar is. Let's go ahead and bring the breath bar up first before we do our first initial search. Let's go ahead and hop in the water here. Alright, and you see the breath bar just appeared. It was the blue over there in the corner. I had to stop it quickly. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to go ahead and enable speed hack right here, and I'm just going to put it down to 0.5. That's half the speed. 1 is full speed, 0.5 is half speed. And that'll help our bar to go down a little slower, so it can give us a little more room to find these things. And when I deal with bars of any type, I always start with a float value, especially in these 64-bit games. So usually you're going to find them on a float value. So we don't know exactly what it is. Since it is a bar, we don't have a numeric to go by, so we're going to do an unknown initial value search and first scan it. And these things could take a little while. That's why I keep my RAM cleaned out with advanced system care. You see how quick it fills up my RAM? So I always recommend to have at least 16 gigabytes of RAM available, because it really, these 64-bit games will cheat engine will keep up with tons of addresses. As you can see, 1.5 billion just in float alone. So it's always good to have a little RAM cleaner going on. It'll kind of smooth things out for you. So let's go down and let's have our meter go down a little bit. So we see it's going down, so we're going to pause it. And this game does have an in-game pause, and I'm using hotkeys. I set all my options to hotkeys, and I'm going to go decrease value, as you see there. And this is probably going to take a while, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it while it just does the scan. That's all I'm going to let it do, is do the scan. I'll come right back and show you the results, okay? Okay, so it's completed its scan. It's just now finished, so I'm going to go ahead and weed all these red ones out, as many as possible. Those are values that are still changing, so I'm just going to hit my hotkey for unchanged value, and let's just weed them down a little bit. And let's go back to the game and make it decrease a little more. Alright, you see the bar went down a little bit, so we're just going to go decrease value. Go back to the game, and we're just going to go decrease, 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 decrease. You see how quick it's going down. And then we can go back here and decrease. Just hit unchanged, unchanged a couple of times, and now we only got 51 results, so that's a pretty good number. So let's just go through here and see if we can see anything that may make a little sense. Now we have no idea what that value is. We don't know if it's 1,000 going down from something, 500 going down from something. So, but first off, I like to go through the list, see if there's anything in there that just seems like it makes little sense. And so far, nothing does. So let's just take a look and see what we got here. And I find these two interesting. One is an internal code, one is a graphical code, which does come into play. These look interesting as well. But for right now, I'm going to assume that we're possibly at 100 and it's going down. You see how low it is. Let's go back to the game. You see we're down at a very low percentage. So let's try this 30 just for the time being, and I want to just change one of them and see if that makes any difference. Let's put that up to like 60 and see if anything happens. And it did go up. Do you see that? And look, that was our internal code right there, and it's hanging at 60, and it automatically sent that information to the graphical code. That's the code that's controlling the bar. So that's good. We found it rather quickly. And you just got to experiment. Just go through each one. This comes with experience. Actually, you just get to recognize what may make a lot of sense to you. Usually when I look for little bars like that, I'm assuming it's 100 and going down from there. So I kind of look for things that would go down from 100 is the first things I try. So that's why I did that. I didn't actually know what it would be. It was just a guess. So let's go ahead and put this back up to 1. And that's full speed. We don't need that for right now anymore. And we know that this is controlling our breath. If we just go back to the game, we can see it's holding at 60, so it's about almost halfway. So we can get rid of these scans here. Let's right click on it, find out what's writing to that address, place the debugger on it, go back to the game, and we see we have our instruction. Move SS, and looks like the XMM3 registry is writing to our breath, so it's sending the new information. And if we want to see what's in that XMM3 registry, all we have to do from right here is click more information, and we're going to go down here to F right here, and it shows our XMM registry. And XMM3 is trying to carry our new value into our location. We see also XMM0 is holding our new information. So let's go over to see this in our disassembler and see what's actually going on here. And that makes sense. XMMO is sending the new value into XMM3. XMM3 is writing that into our address. So we can see here's where the initial subtraction takes place. XMM1 looks like it's carrying what's being decreased. It's just constantly doing that. 0.13 is being taken away. So there are so many ways we can go about this. We can change XMM1 to 0 where it's never subtracting. We can, if we could find a cap, which I don't see anything actually holding a cap at the moment, we could have the cap just continuously write that, or we can just go manually have it just write 100 or whatever we want in there. So let's just do that, just to save a little time and everything. So I'm going to go to our template, AOB injection, And we want to change this to what it is so we know what it is later. I always put a 1 or 2 after it just so in case I need to go back and tweak it later that I know what that's controlling. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to totally remove this. And I'm just going to have it move a float value. I'll just say a float value of 100 into there. Let's go ahead and get rid of all this mess. We don't need it. Nice, simple, to the point. Like I say, if our breath meter was to go up via, you know, like an upgrade or something like that, then we could possibly go tweak it later and maybe find a cap to where our cap is always riding. That way, if we go up a level, our cap will reflect that as well. So, but for right now, it's a good start. So we're going to assign that to the current cheat table. We can turn that off. Looks like I assigned it twice. Sorry about that. Let me just delete one of them. And we need to label this. Well, it's infinite breath underwater. Just. And always, always, always is we're going to go up here and save our work. First time off, you're going to click Save As. Dishonored 2, and I'm going to put just B after it because I've already got one cheat table in there already for Dishonored 2. I don't want it to override it, so I put B after it so it'll save its own spot. Alright, so always save your work, and now we're going to click on Infinite Breath. We're going to go back and take a look. You see our breath bar is not going down. We can swim around and we'll never die. So I'll tell you what, let me get to the next section and so we can find some more values. I don't want to waste time just by getting to these locations and try to keep this video a little bit short if I can. So I'll be right back with you. Well, I'll tell you what, I got to thinking, since we're here at the water, you know, we can't really find or write a script out for our health yet, but we can at least find where it's being controlled at via the instruction. So if we can find the instruction, we can go ahead and save that, and then when we come across some enemies later, we can go find our comparison to separate that out. So let's see if we can go ahead and maybe find our health value. I just want to make sure. Okay, it looks like it's almost up to full. I'm not sure where it's at right now, but we're going to go ahead and stay on float, and I'm going to go unknown initial value. Go ahead and have it scan that. Okay, good. So we're about 1.5 billion, a little over that. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and take off my infinite breath. Let infinite breath go all the way down and see if it takes away from my health. Let me put it back on 0.5 because I don't want a fast decreasing bar, and that'll help us find it a little better. Let me go ahead and turn that off. Let's go back to the game. Well, let me turn it all the way up for. Matter of fact, let me do it double time speed for the breath bar going down. Then we'll cut it back down when we get to health. Okay, so as soon as it runs all the way down, almost all the way down, then let's go ahead and put it back at half speed. So click apply. Now we're at half speed. Let the breath bar go all the way down. Let's see what happens. Okay, you see our health going down. So let's go ahead and do our decreased value. We're going to do it the exact same way we did breath. So I'm probably not going to show the entire search process for this. I'm just going to show you how I go test some of these values. But we're doing it the exact same way we did breath, except this time we're doing decreased value. I don't really have a way to eat or know if it goes back up automatically or not. So we'll just have to take it from there. So let me pause the game while it does its search, and I'll be right back. Okay, so it's finished its first initial search with a decreased value. So let's go ahead and clear out some of these red values by clicking unchanged. Like I said, I'm using my hotkeys here. I always recommend setting the most used things to hotkeys. That'll save you a lot of time. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this down to a 0.3. Make that a little bit slower just so we don't miss it, because the health bar seems to be going down a little quick. So let's go ahead and resume the game. We're going to let it go down. We're going to hit decreased. Decreased, decreased, decrease. Just keep doing that till we get down to a decent number that we can weed through. We're down to about half. 89, that's good. Alright, we can stop it there. And let's go ahead and hit decrease one more time. And we can put that back up to 1. That's normal speed. Now we just want to kind of go through and see what makes a little sense to us. And like I say, normally I just assume it might be 100, and I look for anything that would make sense in that regard. And right off the bat, we see 23. We see the bars down that low. We also see a bunch of 30s right here, so I want to add those to the cheat table. 34. Anything that looked like it might come down from 100, I want to try to use those, and that just helps me a little better. Now, normally, a lot of times it may not work out this way. I mean, that bar could be 1,000 for all I know, or 500. I don't know, but for right now, that's what I start off with, just to see if maybe there's a possibility that one of these is it. So what I want to do is I want to go down and freeze about half of them and pray the game don't close down on me or screw something up. So you got to be a little careful with this. And sometimes it happens. You just got to shake it off and try again. So let's see what happens. Oh, take a look. Take a look at our health. It's holding. So we know that one of these is definitely our health value, our internal health. So we don't need those anymore. So let's use the process of elimination. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off these last 3. And I'm going to try the first 2. And it's still holding. Alright, so now we're just going to take off the next one. And it's still holding. So it looks like this 23 right here is our health value. So let's get rid of this. And let's just test it right quick. Let's put that up to about 50 and see if that makes any kind of difference. Just to be... Yep, health bar went up, so that is definitely our health value. So at least we found our health value, and we can find the opcode that controls our health value for later in the game when we come across enemies. That way we can get a good compare, because we do know that most games use the health instruction as a shared opcode with yourself as well as with the enemies. We can't really do that right here because we don't have any enemies to play. So let's just go ahead and find what writes to this address. And it pops something up immediately. We see that XMMO registry is moving that value into RBX. It's pointing at offset 20. So let's see what XMM0 is carrying at the moment. Let's click more information. Click F to show our XMM registries, our float registries. This is our float pointing stack. FPU registers and your XMM registers. So XMM0 is carrying the new health value from the old health value, looks like. Oh, take a look at this. That looks like an interesting... I wonder if 70 was actually the full health. Let me take a look. Let me put 70 right here. Oh, take a look at that. That completely just about filled it all the way up. It looks like XMM7 may be carrying our health cap. So when we do get our comparison, we can have XMM7 write to that address, this address right here, instead of XMM0. So it's always writing our cap. So when we go up levels or have upgrades or anything, it'll always reflect our cap being wrote to that instead of just being taken away. And we'll always have a full health bar. So what I want to do, there's really nothing I can do with this at the moment because we need to separate our enemies out. So what I want to do is store it for later. And the way we do that is we add to the code list right here. Or you can do it in the disassembler itself. So I'm just going to do it here. Let's go ahead and name it so we know exactly what that particular opcode is controlling, which is our health. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. What it does, it stores it right here. You can see I've already used it for other things as well. But what it does, when I want to access it later in the game, we want to make sure we save it. And we will click advanced options. We want to use it later. And all we got to do is double click on it. And it takes us to that place in our memory viewer. And as you can see right here, XMM7 is moving the cap into there. It's also XMM6 is carrying our new value and placing it into XMM0. XMM0 is placing that to where it's storing our health. So XMM7 I really believe is carrying our cap value. So later on we're going to have XMM7 right to that and have XMM0 right to our enemies. But we'll take care of that later. Very good. So we got that stored, and we can actually close Cheat Engine, the game down, bring it back up, and that information will still be there later. We'll want to come back to it later. So let's go to the next area right quick. Let's go ahead and get infinite arrows, and we'll call it quits after that for this particular part, and we'll have part 2 next week. Okay, now I'm towards the last part of the tutorial where we're at the arrows for the crossbow, and we're going to find that. Now there was a stealth in there as well, and we are going to find stealth. I prefer to do that in another vid as this part series continues. It's a little bit harder to find. That may just have to be a lesson in and of itself, and I want to stay easy before we get into the more intermediate and advanced things, which we are going to do during the course of this video tutorial series. So that's going to be exciting. That should help answer a lot of questions that I've been getting. Just go from beginning to end and make a trainer. So let's go ahead and find our crossbow arrows, and we'll call it on this video, and that'll give me something for next week to come out for you guys. Alright, we see we're starting at 3, so let's go ahead, and I want to go ahead and go to 4 byte on this one. Usually your ammo values in just about any game are going to be located on a 4 byte. Is it that way all the time? No, it's not, but that's the most logical place to start. And we always try to save time if we can. Sometimes if it's not there, then you wasted time, but play the odds. So we're going to go ahead, it's going to search for all the 3s right now. And let's see if we can find maybe a cap it goes to. Alright, it went up to 5. We're down to 340 results, which is good. We're up to 7. We only got a few choices. There's some more here. Let's see if we can get to a cap maybe. There's 9, so we see that only those are affecting it. And let's see if we can grab some more. There's 10. And all those changed to 10. So it looks like we're dealing with an internal code and some graphical codes. We don't know which is which. But just to give you a little heads up, about 8 out of 10 times your oddball, if you see here you got EO6, EO6, EO6C all the way down, usually the similar addresses will be your graphical code, and usually you'll see one oddball in there. Most of the time that will be your internal code. And just to recap, internal code gives all the information to your graphical codes. So for right now, I'm just going to try the oddball, and let's just see what happens. I'm going to put that back down to 5, and we're going to hold that, and let's just see what happens. Let's go back to the game and take a look. Do you see there on the left hand side all those went to 5? That means it got its information from the internal code. All the graphical codes are what you see on the screen. You see that number 5 up there? That's a graphical code. And there are other graphical codes reflecting that, maybe in a pause menu or a stat screen or whatever. So let's put that back to 10, and let's grab some more arrows. I believe that 10s are capped because it was staying odd till then. Yeah, you can't carry anymore. So we know that we have a health cap, or excuse me, a arrow cap of 10. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and find out what writes to this address. See what's going on with it. Let's go ahead and shoot one. Went down to 9. We know ECX is carrying the new value to REX plus 20, which is our arrow. So let's take a look at the ECX registry, which is also RCX, so that we know that that is the new value that's being wrote to there. Let's see if we can find out some more information. Let's go to the disassembler and see what's going on with it. Well, if we take a look at this right here, we see that EDX is subtracting from ECX, and then it's testing ECX, and then ECX is writing the new subtracted value to our arrow address. That's where it's storing it. So we can do this so many ways. If you take a look here, we can possibly just jump that entire instruction. Don't know how that'll really affect us at the moment, but we could possibly jump that and just avoid that subtraction altogether. We can knock that subtraction out where it just stays at that volume. Or we could possibly maybe try to find a cap to see if it can write our cap value to that. Let's try that first. I like writing caps. Bear with me just a second. Okay, thank you. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and put the find out what addresses this instruction accesses. Now, I know we got the address over here, but I like doing it this way better. And let's just go ahead and fire off around. We see we're down to 8, so let's go ahead and open that. Right click on it, open dissect data with selected addresses, new window. We'll put arrow and just yes every screen till it comes up, and we know from earlier, oops, my bad. We know from earlier that the offset REX is pointing to is the offset of 20, so we know this right here is indeed our current arrows. And take a look at this right here. This, I bet you $1 million bill, this is our cap, 24. As long as that never goes down, that would be our cap. So we could possibly have 24 writing to ECX and have ECX writing that cap value into where it's storing it at offset 20. So let's do that. Let's try that, see what happens. Let's have our cap write to our current value. We just need to memorize that it's 24, and we can close this down. We don't need that anymore. Let's go ahead and bring up our auto assemble, AOB injection, and we're just going to put arrows 1. That way we know what it is. And the way we do that, now it's going to still subtract ECX and do all that mess, but we're going to override that by having the cap write to ECX. So it's going to totally replace whatever value it's carrying and put the cap in there instead. So we're going to override everything it's doing, so we don't really want to change anything. We know it's the R8X registry. We remember the offset was 24 carrying our cap. And remember, whatever the instruction is, whatever's on the left hand side of the comma is going to affect, or excuse me, whatever's on the right hand side of the comma is going to affect whatever's on the left hand side. So we should have put our registry first, then put this right here. So we want the cap, excuse me, I'm sorry, it's ECX, not EAX. The cap is going to write the new value into ECX and replace whatever has been in there from the subtraction and everything else, and that new value is going to be wrote to our store address. So let's assign that to the current cheat table, and if all goes well, we should just hold steady at 10. And if we go have upgrades later where we can hold more arrows, the cap should reflect that. So we're going to put this up here as infinite crossbow arrow test. Now it is possible, we don't know this yet, that opcode may control other items as well. We don't know that yet. We won't know that in the game. That's why we're labeling it as a test, because we still need to look and see if other items are being affected with it later on in the game. But we'll get that on into another part and deal with it then. So let's see what happens when we fire off a round. It should go from 8 to 10 instead of going down, and we should have infinite crossbow arrows. So let's do that. And it did. You see it went to 10. And we do have infinite crossbow arrows. And let's see if we can pick up any more. We shouldn't be able to, and we do. So as of right now, we do have 3 things in this little bit of time. We have a health address that's storing our health that we can take a look at without having to go search for it again. We do have right now infinite breath, and we do have infinite crossbow arrows. We still need to test these out later in the game to make sure they're still working in the main game. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I don't want this to get too very long, and we'll go ahead and pick this up next week in part 2, where we will continue on. So stick around with me. It's going to be a great series, and like I say, you'll see how I do these things from start to finish. Also, come join us over at the Cheat the Game Facebook page. We do have a lot of new members, got a lot of great game hackers that can help answer your questions if you get stuck. Now, we do not go into detail on hacking online games, but we will help you with single player offline games. And if it is possible to hack an online game, if the values are stored on your system, then they possibly may be able to help you with that, but I can't guarantee it. But we would love to have you. We talk everything gaming over there, and it's great. We're also currently working on this right now in the planning stages, but we're going to have a website and forum that's going to be starting up with Cheat the Game website and forum, and we would love to have you come over there. I'll give you details about that later. It's not up and running yet, but it will be hopefully before too long, but I'll keep you updated on that. You guys take care. Keep on hacking. Most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what it's all about. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, it doesn't mind cheating. Take care now.